When I reviewed the Force USA C10 trainer, which is this guy right here, I reviewed a lot of cool features, but I saved the coolest feature for its own video. And I'm sitting on that feature right now, which are the connected benches that you can get to go with the C10. There's a C10 base bench and the C10 sliding bench. And that's the topic of this video on GymCrafter. Welcome back to the GymCrafter YouTube channel, everybody. My name is Tim. I'm the head gym nerd here at GymCrafter.com, the website that I built to help ordinary folks like you and I build home and garage gyms that we absolutely love. And there is nothing better in your garage gym than saving space, right? When you're trying to fit in your workout between the washing machine and the big wheels, you got to get as much gear as you can crammed into one small space. And that's what Force USA does. They've been making these all-in-one trainers longer than anyone else. They're definitely a higher quality than pretty much any of the other ones that I've looked at. And when we talk about being unique in the marketplace, a lot of other companies right now, what they'll do is they'll buy something off of Alibaba, they'll stick their brand name on it, they'll tell you that they designed it when they didn't, and then they'll sell it and they'll just advertise everywhere. You guys have seen some of that stuff on my channel lately. And the cool thing about Force USA is they've got designers, they've got engineers, they've got people actually coming up with ideas here. And the C10 is one of those. And I don't think I've seen an all-in-one trainer that's as unique and has as many cool features, especially when you add these benches. So today what we're going to look at is we're going to look at the connected benches that are meant to go with the C10. Now I'm going to make your choice really easy. If you're buying a C10, I think you should buy the C10 sliding bench. Now the sliding bench that I'm sitting on runs $799. The C10 base bench runs $499. There's a $300 price difference, but the amount of stuff that you can do on the one that I'm sitting on is so much greater. It's going to save you a ton of money in floor space. And really, if you're looking to do really any kind of training that you would want to do in just the footprint of this trainer and this bench, this is such a cool thing to do. So I'm going to walk you through. The way I'm going to do this video is I'm actually just going to set this up. I'm just going to let the video roll. I'm going to show you everything this bench does, and I'm actually going to do the setup live on the camera. Now I've set this up once before myself. So the guy showed me this morning how to do it once. I've done a dry run through to see if I can make all this stuff work. But I want you guys to see real world what it takes to set something like this up, because one of the things that I was impressed with is, as you guys know, if I have to do lots of extra work to use something, I typically won't use it. So sometimes a lot of things that look cool at first, if they take a ton of work and effort to set up, like a lot of the manual pulley systems that I see, I just wouldn't use those because it just takes too long to get out and latch on and screw on and all that kind of stuff. So as you watch this, you're going to get a real good idea of what it takes to do this. Now, as far as the benches go, what you get for those prices, you're going to get the bench, which is an adjustable bench. There's some nice grippy material on it. One of the things I wish was different about this as well, the grippiness is good. The material is a little bit thin and the padding could be a little bit firmer. It's not as nice as a standalone, Rep AB 5200 or something like that. However, as far as being able to do a lot of different stuff, it works great. I don't see you having a problem with it, but it is something that I wish was a little bit different. These are both adjustable benches, ladder style adjustable benches. Both the seats and the backs adjust. And so that's a pretty common thing for adjustable benches. The seat gaps are minimal. There's nothing really to be too concerned about. And then the other thing that I wish was different, just to knock that out up front, is on the backs. I wish that the backs were a little bit longer. Now I'm 6'6", so I do have a little trouble fitting on some things. Like this one, I have to kind of sit towards the front to get my head to rest on the bench. So those are some of the things that I've noticed right off the bat. But those are normal adjustable bench type things. I don't think that you buy one of these benches because you're looking for a top of the line premium adjustable bench. You buy one of these benches for the other stuff that they can do. Now, as far as the attachments that come with these, both of these are going to come with a preacher curl attachment like you see here. And like I said, I'll show you how these attach and how these integrate with the C10. And they're going to come with a leg curl and leg extension attachment as well. Both of those come off. And then as far as the base bench, it's an adjustable bench. You can do the preacher curl, and that actually does integrate the cables for the C10, or it's got a universal rack. So if you just have a normal shorty easy bar or something like that, you can definitely use that. You could definitely use dumbbells. So it's a decent preacher curl bench. And then you can use the leg curl leg extension integrated with the C10. The sliding bench adds a couple more options, which I think are really valuable. It allows you the ability to do a leg press, and there's dual 220-pound weight stacks on this. If you didn't catch the review, one of the cool things about the C10 is that there is a 1-to-2, 1-to-1, and 2-to-1 cable ratio depending on what you're doing. So when you're talking about the low row attachment, which is what attaches for the leg press function of this bench, that is a 1 to 2. So the dual 220-pound weight stacks can be combined on the leg press for a feel weight of 440 pounds. And something that's pretty cool is a lot of people go, yeah, but on my leg press, I can load more than 440 pounds. One of the things I realized as I was trying to max this out and couldn't is my 45-degree angle leg press at home, I can put 500 pounds on there, no problem. But what you don't realize is that if the feel weight of 500 pounds on a 45-degree leg press isn't 500 pounds because it's on an angle, right? With this, the weight that you're pressing is the weight that you feel. So what I noticed is that doing 400 pounds on this feels like a lot heavier on my normal leg press. So that's one really kind of cool thing. So the bench itself integrates into that low row to do a leg press. It also does a hack squat. I'll show you the issue I have with the hack squat when I set it up, just because I'm so tall, it's not perfect for me. And then something that I figured out while I was here that Force USA isn't advertising yet is this bench sets up for the perfect chest supported row, because the attachments for the low row, there's dual attachments and they swivel down there. So you can attach a couple of D handles or a row attachment, set this up in its attached position so it's really solid, and then actually do chest supported rows better than any other thing I felt other than a chest supported row machine. So when you talk about the $300 difference from the base bench to the sliding bench, when you look at the footprint you save and the money you save, so if you were to buy a decent leg press, you're looking at $1,200 for a compact or $2,000 or more for a full-size leg press. And then you're looking at a lot of those will be a combo with a hack squat, and you'd be looking at a giant footprint for those. And then you're talking about another $300 to $500 for just a standalone leg curl, plate-loaded leg curl, leg extension machine. And then you're looking at another $500 to $1,000 for a chest-supported row machine. You get all of that with the same footprint for the $300 extra. So in my mind, if I'm looking at the C10, which is $39.99, and I'm looking at buying a bench, I'm not quibbling over the $300. I honestly don't even really understand why they would make this particular option. Now, one benefit of this particular option is if you have somebody else's functional trainer and it has dual cable attachments at the bottom for the low row, you can definitely use this. However, this, I don't know, you might need to come up with some custom cable lengths. I have noticed when I set this up, this is designed specifically to fit exactly on the C10. There's different cables that you use for different exercises that are specific lengths, and I don't know that you're going to have the same lengths on something like a Rep Aries or a Rep Athena or something like that. So I wouldn't tell you that this would work on that. Now, a lot of you DIY folks out there, guarantee you can figure out a way to make it work, but I don't know that it's a plug and play type of a solution. For the base bench, if you just want to do the preacher curls on the cables and you want to do the leg extension leg curls, you could probably use that on any functional trainer that has a dual low row attachment. So with all that, that's the overview of these. I think the magic is going to be showing you so that you see, and I know a lot of you guys have posted questions about how it feels and how it works. So I'm going to walk you through how each of these exercises feel as I get each one set up. And like I said, I'll do each setup in real time so that you can see what it takes to get this set up and how easy or hard, depending on your perspective, this is. The first thing that you're going to notice about this bench is that it's kind of big. It's probably 5.5 feet long. So it's definitely got a bigger footprint than most benches, and that's because it does this. So it's got to have room to adjust. You'll see why when I show you and it sets up. Plus it's fun to do this, right? You just go wee. But anyway, so it's really cool that way, but it is large. However, it is no harder to move around than my Rep AB 5200. It's pretty much the exact same weight, and there's wheels on the back. It rolls around easily. What I like is the weight's evenly distributed, so it starts rolling like right there. So this rolls around real easily. It's not unbearable to move around. The Blackwing, if you've watched the channel that I had from Rep, I sold because it was just too big and cumbersome. So even though this is large, it is not overbearing. It's not hard to move around. It's not too heavy. It is a 3-post design, so you've got a nice narrow footprint. So if you're using this as an adjustable bench, and there's a ton of adjustments here. It's a typical ladder style bench, nice and solid, and then the seat does adjust as well. It's a fairly good adjustable bench. Like I said, I do wish this back pad was a little bit longer. If I was to redesign the bench, I'd add probably about 4 to 6 inches on top of this pad, just so that you could use the back pad as its own. But if you're using this as a flat bench, and the gap's minimal, it's not that big of a deal. The hinge is recessed. So as far as how it works is just an overall bench. Like I said at the beginning, it is a kind of a basic adjustable bench. It's got kind of a large footprint, But let me show you why it slides. And what I want to show you is first is how this works as far as the leg press goes. So the first thing to point out is down here by the foot plate for the low row. Now this foot plate is adjustable. It's going to move in and out. And on the front of the foot plate, there's a little post stop. And that's what's gonna keep the bench locked into where it is. There's a post on the bottom of the bench, which I'll show you in a second, which slides in and out. And that's gonna push up against this, and that's what connects this. Now, it doesn't physically connect. What actually holds it in place are the tension of the cables that are gonna connect. Your cables are going to hook. There are 2 pivoting pulleys down here. That's where you would connect your low row attachment. That's where we're going to attach the cables as well. What this comes with is it comes with a set of 6 cables. There's 2 red, 2 green, and 2 black, and these are for different purposes. The red is for tall people, the green is for short people, and then the black are for the leg curl and the leg extension. And these are a set cable length. And these lengths are why I'm not sure if the bench itself will work with other trainers outside of the C10, because these again are very specific lengths. But what you're gonna do is you're going to attach these 2 cables to the bottom right here. We're gonna pull out a post on the bottom of the bench, butt it up, connect it on 2 spots on the bench, and we'll be ready to leg press. So let me show you how to do that. All right, here we go. Let's see if I can do this. So on the bottom of the bench, there's a post that slides out, and on the top of the post, there are little markings for green, red, and black that match the cables that I just showed you. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm actually going to take these cables, I'm gonna clip them in down by the low row and get these ready on either side of the bench. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pop this pop pin on the bottom of the bench. Everything on this bench works with real nice pop pins, so I'm gonna pull this up and I'm gonna slide this out. I'm using the red cables until I see the word red here. And so that's ready to go, and I'm ready to set up. Now I'm gonna slide the bench forward until the end of this post butts up against that plate that I showed you a second ago. As you can see, it slid right across the ground. Again, the bench isn't super heavy. The stability comes from this post. I'm gonna lay this all the way down flat, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pop that pin that I showed you where it slides, and I'm gonna slide it all the way up. I've found that it's easier to take these weight pins out to do this. It gives you, the tolerances are very good on this, it's very tight, so having a little bit of play on these weight stacks makes it just a bit easier to connect this to the bottom. So the bench is set up. Now what I'm gonna need is I'm gonna need a foot plate to push against this. Now, this bench comes with the foot plate, and it's gonna slide into an opening right here, again with a pop pin. Let me show you that. This is the foot plate, it's a nice diamond plate. I do wish it was a little bit bigger, however, it's as big as you can get to fit in here comfortably, so I don't think it could be bigger, although it would be nice if it was. And all we have to do, that's the back pad for the leg press, and we are ready to leg press. It's that quick. So really in under just a minute or 2, you can get this thing set up and ready to go. So let me show you a couple of little things that I wish were different about this, because I know a lot of people, your questions are, how does this compare to a standalone leg press? The first thing I would tell you is it doesn't. If you want to stand on a leg press, if you're used to leg pressing hundreds and hundreds of pounds and using every 45-pound plate in the gym and getting your friends to stand up on top of it, then you're going to want to stand alone leg press. If, like I said, you're trying to work out between the big wheel and the washing machine and you would like a leg press, but you just don't have room in the budget or just in the garage for one, this is a really good option. Now there's a couple of things that are a little awkward about this. So let me move the camera up closer and show you as I set up to actually do a leg press, what I like and don't like about this. Okay. So first thing I wish was different, but there's a little bit of a workaround. There are no handles. I know when I use a leg press, what I really like to do is have some handles right here to pull myself into the seat. It gets your back in a better position and it kind of maintains better form. I really wish that there were some handles on this. I did tell the guys if there was a way to put handles on this, that would be great. Also, you're gonna see when I set up for the leg press, it's a little awkward to get set up. So what I've been doing that works really well is I've been taking the spotter arms and putting them off to the side here. And that gives me something to hold on to while I get in and set up. The reason why this is necessary is unlike a standard leg press where you get in and then you're maybe halfway down and you kind of let it out and you let the safeties down and then you come all the way down. With this, the way this sets up, you're starting off at the bottom. The biggest question I get on this is squat depth. And it's also the biggest kind of weird kind of issue with using it is the way that this works is you're starting out at the bottom of the range of motion. So whereas with most leg presses, you're gonna start at the top You're gonna push it up a little bit, you're gonna undo the safeties, and then you're gonna lower it down all the way to the eccentric, and the weight itself is what helps you get to a good depth. With this, you actually have to start at your deepest position first, and it can be a little bit awkward and uncomfortable. So I'm gonna set this up with the cables for short people, and this plate right here actually moves forward and backward to be able to adjust the amount of depth. I'm gonna move this as far out as it can possibly go. So this is the most depth that's available. Now, I may not be able to get my big old body into this. I think I can, but I wanted to show you guys the most depth you can get with it so that a lot of you asking that question have that answer. I'm gonna put just a couple 100 pounds on here. And the way this works is because this is attached to the low row, this is a 1 to 2. So with this, like I said, let's do 200 pounds. Now, if you have a lot through the middle, this is gonna be difficult for you because it's kinda, like I said, it's kind of difficult. So what I've got to do is I've got to get set here, and this is where these things come in handy, is being able to kind of just have something to hold on to. And I'm going to pull my knee up all the way, get that there, and then I literally have to use my arms. Okay. Now I'm in position, but now I'm scooted down, and this is where I wish those handles were, but I'm using these, and I'm going to get my butt back in the right place. Now, every time I've done this, it's gotten a little bit easier, but this is the most depth I can get. Now, keep in mind, my thighs are pushing all the way up against my abdomen. This is about as much ankle mobility as I have. I definitely have a little bit more, but this is about it. So with 200 pounds, now I'm set up, and once I push, it's not a problem, right? So it's a nice full range. I can get some good depth by setting up like this, but that's the most depth I can get, is what you're looking at right here. So if you like to get even more depth, this might not be the right thing for you, but as far as something that integrates into a trainer, this is awesome. The other question I'm getting is, how does it feel on your back? Because typically on a leg press, you've got a full back pad, you can push your whole body against it. And I would tell you that once you get to heavier weights, if I get up to, we'll bump it up to 150 on each one. What I noticed is that at 150, and notice it gets a little bit easier every time I do this. At 150, it really is it could be a little bit bigger, but what happens is if you made this back pad bigger, then it doesn't work as a seat pad for the bench. So it's a compromise for the format and for the space savings, but I did notice that it's not uncomfortable. It's not gonna make me not use this. It's not gonna make me tell you this is a bad leg press. It's good. It's just a little different, and it would be nice if this was a little bit bigger. One solution to that, and actually something I've been doing on this a couple times already, is what I like doing is dropping the weight down and going to single leg. So doing single leg presses on this, where I just have to put one leg up there. Then I can get into position. Then my back's no problem, right? Because I'm at a lighter weight. I think unilateral movements are really valuable, and single leg presses on this are super easy to do, and that makes it also easier to do the setup. So if you have trouble getting in at the depth that you want, single leg is gonna fix that, because it's really no problem to get your first leg. It's that second leg, as you saw, where I struggled. So that's the leg press itself. If you guys have any questions, put them down in the comments below. I'm sure that I missed something. Overall, verdict on the leg press, like I said, it's pretty cool. If you don't have room for a leg press, but you want one, this is a really good solution. You can get 440 pounds. I'm normally I'll top out at triples at 500 on my 45-degree angle leg press at home. Honestly, I can't get 440 up on this. I tried. I was going to do it for you guys in the video. I'll just admit it. I couldn't get that up. So feels good, nice and smooth, a little awkward to get into, but overall, probably the best solution I've seen, even better than a compact leg press, which has limited range of motion. You can't get a lot of depth on those either, and they take up an additional footprint and additional, $1,000, $1,200 of your money. So that's the leg press. Let me show you the hack squat real quick, because it's in the same setup basically. All right, so for the hack squat, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push this plate all the way back. Now I'm gonna tell you right now that the hack squat doesn't work for me because of my height. So if you are over 6 foot or 6'2", I don't know that the hack squat's gonna work, but let me show you how it sets up and let me show you how it works. So you're gonna basically take two handles and put it on the seat. And these are really easy to put on, guys. They slide right in. There's a little locking mechanism that automatically locks. We're gonna put this down, and there's my hack squat. So So plenty of depth, as you can see, but even with this amount of depth, I top out right there. So I'm almost locked out, but at 6'6", this doesn't make a good hack squat for me. I would say 6 feet, 6'2". The guy who showed me this is 6'2", and he does the hack squat just fine, so I would probably top out right there, but that's about as far as it goes. So I wish this had a little more range to it. Luckily, you guys aren't ridiculously sized human beings like me, so most of you will be able to use this no problem. As far as how it feels great. As far as a hack squat alternative, I actually like this better than the 45-degree hack squats because I like laying all the way down. I do like that feeling quite a bit. It gives you a little bit better overall feel. The other thing that I really like about this, not only in the hack squat, but the leg press, is the safety. When you're in a 45-degree, that weight is over you coming down. And in some of the models, there's safeties you have to install every time, and you may not remember to do that. If your foot slips off the pad, that carriage is coming crashing down at you. With this, if you fail in a lift or something like that, you're setting up at that bottom position. That's as close as the weight's ever gonna get, and you're not gonna hurt yourself. So honestly, this is a safer version of a leg press than a standalone leg press or a 45-degree leg press, even with the safeties that those things have. You know, it's just something that I really noticed about this is I didn't feel like I was ever gonna have something coming crashing at me. Whenever I use my 45-degree leg press at home, every time I get in that thing, I'm like, please don't fall on my legs. It's an irrational fear, but the fear is still there because it could definitely happen, right? So that's the leg press and the hack squat. And let me go ahead and get the leg curl and leg extension set up so that you guys can see that. Sets up just as easily. There's just a couple of other cables you need to do, and you don't need to do the post on the bottom of the bench. So I'm gonna undo all that, scoot it out, get that set up, and we'll just do that on camera so you can see how quickly that goes. All right, so basically what I did was I slid the post in the top of the bench, I unhooked those red cables, I slid the bench all the way down forward, and I locked it into place. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna install some chain extenders and then the black cables onto those lower pulleys. We're going to slot in the leg curl leg extension piece, which just slots in a single post, which you'll see, and then route the cables through one pulley, clip it on, and we'll be ready to go. All right, and we're set up. You saw me fumble a little bit there. This is literally the second time I've set up this particular portion of it, but there we go. We just clicked the chains, the cables, ran them through one pulley up and onto the front of here, and we're ready to go. These rollers, this can adjust up and down for different heights. These bottom rollers have 2 positions. For your leg curls, you've got 4 positions for these rollers, but I'm set up right now for the leg curl or the leg extension. All I've got to do is get my legs over, and away we go. So there's your leg curl, super easy to set up, nice resistance curve all the way through. There's just as much weight at the top as there is at the bottom because you're using cables. And one really cool thing is they did add a weight horn here. And at first I was like, why do you need a weight horn when you've got the cables? The reason you want a weight horn is that you can do drop sets. So one of the coolest things is you can do, one of the most effective things you can do, especially with legs, is to do drop sets to failure. So you could start with like 4 10-pound plates on here or something like that, do it to failure, reach down, not have to get up, pop one of those plates off, do it to failure, reach down, pop one of those plates off, and you guys get the idea. So really cool idea to have a plate horn on here in addition to the cable resistance. Now, as far as the leg curl goes, what you're gonna do is you're gonna pop this to its lowest position. All right, so it's at its lowest position now. Because it's at its lowest position, we just added some slack to the cable. So what I realized last time is we need to pull this forward to take out the slack. But once that slack is gone, and there's your leg curl. So there's your leg curl, your leg extension, your hack squat, your regular squat. Now, as I was looking at this setup, I realized that this could do one more thing that Force USA is not advertising. I've shown the guys here. I wouldn't be surprised to see if they added into the marketing material. But this works great for chest supported rows. 2 of the machines that I know people really miss the most between a commercial gym and a home gym are leg curls and leg extensions and a chest supported row. Those are the 2 machines that people use a lot. A chest supported row is really, really valuable. So let me show you how that sets up with this because I think it's really slick and it works really, really well. So here's what I did to set up for the chest supported row. I moved that bottom post out of the bench to the red position, which is its longest position. That gets the bench out enough from the rack so that I'm not hitting my elbows on these uprights. I've got plenty of clearance to get a nice wide pull. The second thing it does is this bench isn't going anywhere. I filmed a video not too long ago where I showed how I do chest supported rows with just a standard functional trainer. I'll take my incline bench and set it up like this, and then I'll put it out in front of the post. But if you use too much weight, what happens is the bench tends to tip or slide. Because of the way this locks in, you're completely rock solid, just like a normal chest supported row. I left the chain extensions on from the leg press leg extension, and then I hooked on a D handle onto each side. The low row on each side individually is 1-to-1. So I've got, whatever, 30 pounds or whatever for this demonstration on each side. That's the actual feel weight. So you can do some really nice heavy chest supported rows with this. And then all you got to do is reach in, grab these handles, get set up, and I've got some really nice range of motion here. I can get all the way forward based on how I hook these D handles on. I can shorten these chains up if I need to get even more stretch, and I can get all the way back. I could hook these D handles on directly without the chain. I could use a neutral grip attachment. I could use a lot of different things, and this is a really fantastic alternative to a chest supported row. Probably the best one that I've seen outside of having a standalone like hammer strength chest supported row, which is going to cost you an arm and a leg and take up a ton of more real estate. So I really love that this can function as that as well. So that means that this bench can not only operate as your bench for your unit, but it's a chest supported row, a leg press, a hack squat, a leg extension, and a leg curl all in one. So all around verdict on the C10 benches. As I mentioned before, I don't know why they make the base bench. I would just get the sliding bench. If you're gonna get one, spend the extra $300. To me, that's a no-brainer. Also, what's a no-brainer is I don't know why you would buy the C10 without the bench. In my opinion, they should come together as one package. I don't know why you would want to forego those 5 extra exercises. This is really what makes the C10 so valuable in a small garage gym space. You can get lots of all-in-ones that do what the C10 do. Yes, it has, cool cables that slide out to the outside. It's got some really good cable ratios, which are really valuable. I don't know that that's enough to set it apart, but you add this bench and it's unlike any other all-in-one trainer out there, and it makes it a really valuable addition for people trying to train in a small space. It fits a ton of stuff in a small area. It's going to be valuable for you, your spouse, your kids. It's really good for people training as a family. These two together are really, really ideal. And I know a lot of you guys in the comments are going to tell me, oh, well, it's not as good as an Aries, or it's not as good as, it's not supposed to be. It's a completely different product. So if you are a barbell guy and you lift with barbells primarily and you want to add a functional trainer to your 3x3 power rack, then yeah, those are better products for you. But for most of the folks that I help build home gyms, they just want to go to a website and buy a gym, right? They don't want to pick out a power rack and then safeties and then J-hooks and then a barbell and then weights and then attachments. These things come with a ton of attachments. You can do everything you need to get a complete workout for every member of your family all in one. So for all of you out there who don't want to go through the hassle of selecting what color uprights go with your weight storage on your power rack, and I know, look, I'm that guy. I want to do that, right? And I know a lot of you guys are too. But if you're not that person, man, something like this is ideal. You can literally go to the Force USA website and just a shameless plug, go to forceusa.com/GymCrafter. That'll automatically load a 5% coupon for you and get you all taken care of, save you some money as well, and hopefully give me a little credit for flying out here to Utah and showing you all this stuff. But if you decide this is for you and you just want to buy a gym, man, you could go to the website, you could add the C10, you could add the bench, and other than maybe a barbell and some plates if you want to do some barbell work, you've got everything you need that just comes with this. So for that customer, this is a really awesome deal. So yes, does it have some things that I wish were different? Yeah. Are there some things that I would change if I was to redesign it? Sure. But overall, like I said, for those of you out there looking for the easy button in home gyms, and like I said, you want to fit something between your washing machine and your wife's bike, or the washing machine and your husband's bike, this is a great solution for you. So that's all I've got for the C10 and the connected benches. Make sure you check out my C10 review. I'll link it down in the description below. And until the next review for Force USA headquarters, I'm Tim with GymCrafter.